Well, folks, it wouldn't be the UFC if there wasn't a short notice matchup. Am I right? We're here for Dana White's Contender Series week number 4. And as you knew, Austin Bashi was set to face Tommy McMillan. McMillan's out of the fight. In steps Dorian Ramos. Now, Dorian Ramos is a definitely a competitor that is worthy of being on Dana White's Contender Series. So this isn't like they just found some scrub to put in there. He's a very solid competitor. And I think this is a good matchup. In fact, I think experience-wise, this actually makes more sense than the original matchup. Whereas McMillan, although undefeated at 6-0, he didn't have nearly as many, actually half the professional experience of Austin Bashy. Now we got 12-0 versus 8-2, so 12 fights versus 10 fights, a little bit more similar in the experience department. So I do think that is a compelling matchup, and I think both of these guys actually would be a pretty good addition to the UFC. So this is going to be an interesting one to break down. But here we are. We got the short notice Dorian Ramos, who is 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Sorry about that. He's taking on Austin Bashy, who's obviously 5-0 in his last 5 because the guy's undefeated at 12-0. When we look at these fighters here, we're going to start on the Ramos side. Ramos is pretty much just a well-rounded fighter, right? He's good. He's good wherever you're not typically. He's a good striker. Something I really like is that he just jabs often, and he'll build his combinations off of that. So he's just kind of just poking the jabs out there, and then all of a sudden it's boom, boom. It's like boom, come around with like a weird rear hook, or like boom, rip to the body, like stuff like that. He just mixes it up with everything stems from him just jabbing often, changing levels on the jab, and just keeps that jab going, and then he builds from there, and he does a really good job with that, stemming from that jab. I do like his high guard, and it's because he uses this kind of shell to come forward. And I think I really like Ramos's striking because it's very similar to how I like to strike. So like when he comes in, if he wants to get through that distance, which probably isn't the best way to do this sometimes, but it works, he kind of shells up like this and wades in and then starts ripping body shots. I like that being the shorter guy usually. It works well. Now Ramos is often shorter. He's like 5'7". He's going to be the taller guy in this matchup because Austin Bashy's really short. He's like 5. He's listed as 5'3". I think he's probably like 5'4", 5'5". But Ramos is typically shorter, so that kind of wading in with that shell is an easier way to get through some of those longer guys without having to bait out shots. Sure, you eat some on the arms and stuff, but it's not that big of a deal. And then you start ripping body shots, and they don't like that. So I do like the way he goes in like that. I don't know if here that's going to be the best move, though, because here, like I said, he's going to have the height and probably reach advantage. So he's going to be able to work those jabs at range, and he's going to be able to start using his leg kick, which he has a good leg kick. He's going to be able to use those things before the opponent is able to get to him in his range. So that's good. Good volume, works the body really well. So all in all, it's basically boxing with leg kicks. He does a really good job with that. So I do like the way that Ramos strikes on the feet. And the wrestling part, he's a good wrestler as well. He's got good takedowns against the cage, and he likes to get the single leg and then drive his opponents to the cage to start working for the takedowns from there. So how it works, he'll get in on that single, hit it nice up tight, high, kind of run the pipe, but then also drive his opponent clear up to the cage rather than try to finish the single. Because once he gets him to the cage, then he might finish the single, sure, but he also might switch to a double leg, or he might, get to a nice body lock and pull him down that way. But from the cage, he has that ability to kind of work his options there rather than trying to land a takedown out in the middle. It does make it a little bit easier for him from what I can tell. He's got good top pressure, and he works to advance his position. He doesn't just like sit in someone's guard. And sometimes not even half guard typically. Usually he's trying to get to side control or all the way to mount and do his damage from there. So I do like a lot of things from Ramos, but he's fighting a guy in Austin Bashy who's also extremely talented. The guy's 12-0, and it's not because he's been fighting bums. A lot of times you see these guys on Contender Series come in with like an undefeated record or whatever, and they fought a bunch of tomato cans. Not Austin Bashy. This dude has fought some of the best guys on the regional scene, and early in his career there was a couple of guys that weren't very good, and sprinkled here and there, but he's also fought some of the best guys on the regional scene at his weight class. So that is important to note. For Austin Bashy, I believe he does have like a base in Muay Thai, like that's what he started with, but he's definitely more of a grappler. However, some of that striking is still there, right? He's got good kicks. He's got good front kicks in particular. I do think that's his best kick. He also keeps a nice high guard, but different from the Ramos high guard. He's keeping it up here and looking more to set up his wrestling, but he's keeping the hands up so he doesn't just get clipped and knocked out. I love the feint to the hook that he has. So this is how he uses his wrestling threat to set up his hands. He will feint the takedown, kind of get low like he's going to change levels for a shot, and then come up with this hook. And usually he'll get guys to overreact with like a down block or something like that. And when he does that, obviously their face is wide open. So for Bashi, because the threat of the takedown is so real, because his grappling is absolutely lights out, he's able to kind of get that level change and then come up with that hook and just land clean on the chin of people. So he does a good job there. I like that from Bashi. In the grappling department, this is where he gets it done, right? The guy is an absolutely solid grappler, very good takedowns. He's got a variety of different options, and he can chain wrestle with the best of them at this division or in this division at this level. So for Austin Bashi, getting the wrestling going, even though Ramos is a good wrestler, I think Bashi's a better wrestler. He works to advance his position almost immediately once he gets to the mat. He takes the back really well, and he can control his opponents with ease. So he does not let his opponents get the better of him in these scrambles, in these transitions, all that good stuff. He's very opportunistic with his submissions. He's not forcing anything, but he will take what you give him, and a lot of times it's there. And one other thing I do like is that if he has trouble getting the fight to the mat, he has the ability to cage push guys. And if he can't get the takedown, he'll sure go for the takedown, but if he can't get the takedown, he'll just take your back standing and then control you from there. So for Austin Bashi, things that really stand out to me, his win over Askar on the regional scene where he subbed him and made it look easy, that is incredible. Askar is a guy that can compete with a lot of guys in the UFC. He's probably one of the best on the regional scene in the division. I think that's the type of guy that, he could have been on the Contender Series here. If he'd beaten Bashi, he would have been on the Contender Series, I'm pretty sure. But like he's the type of guy that if you can beat that guy, you're definitely UFC level. Austin Bashi subbed him and made it look easy. So this guy is fantastic. That said, I think Dorian Ramos is very live, and I think if he okay, I think Dorian Ramos is very good talent. I think the short notice nature makes this really tough for him. I think if he can somehow keep this standing, he has a better shot, because not only is Bashi the better grappler, but I think the striking is very much close, just different styles. But realistically, I think Bashi's going to get him to the ground. I think he's going to dominate him from there. So Austin Bashi has to be the pick. He's a fantastic fighter. I think he's UFC level. I think he's UFC ready. I think this is the guy that he's been ready to come to the UFC for a while now. So Austin Bashi's the pick. But thank you guys for tuning in. This short notice replacement, we barely got this one out. I was about to leave for vacation today. I'm just giving you a little peek behind the curtain. Last night, I get a message from a guy, buddy of mine, good buddy, that has the inside scoop, right? He goes, "Hey, McMillan's out of the fight. I know who the new opponent is. Can you not tell anybody?" And I said, "Yeah, sure." I had to do all my tape study last night, stayed up late, got up at 5 this morning to get to my studio because I was getting ready to leave. My girlfriend and I were getting ready to go out of town, but I had to be here with the market board, right? So record this video. You guys don't even know who this matchup is yet. I'm going to upload this after it's announced because I'm not going to do my friend dirty like that. And, I got this, got it done, got it ready to go. So as long as this doesn't fall out, you'll have this matchup recorded up on YouTube and ready for you guys to consume. So, shout out to my dude. He knows who he is. And also, glad we could get this one here. You almost didn't get it. So thank you guys for tuning in. Like the video on your way out and drop your prediction down in the comments. I do appreciate it. And check out the rest of the videos. I did break down the other 4 on this Contender Series card. So, check those out as well. And I'll see you guys down the road.